And this is session 1 of 2 of Base Raiders, one of my all-time favorite settings. It is an amazing superhero world, and here's what the actual book looks like. It is superpowered dungeon crawling. The original game is done with a system called Strange Fate, which was also used in Kerberos Club, and it's actually done by the same guy who eventually wrote Atomic Robo, so there's some DNA there. We're not using that system because it's hella complicated, and Fate Core came out afterwards and made things much easier. So I've put this together, kind of a slapdash superhero system, stealing a bit from Venture City Stories and some of the other superhero games to get me something that I'm comfortable with. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, and so we will be using the X card. I trust everybody here is familiar with that.
Yep.
Okay. This, or send a note if you hit something problematic for tone, problematic for material, something that bothers you, and we can edit past it. I may stop and ask exactly what we're moving past just to get a sense of that, but we'll get that through, and we'll redact past that. So let me tell you about this world. If you're a comic book aficionado, the world of Base Raiders was, past tense, was filled with everything. It was very much DCU or the Marvel Universe or Astro City, where we had, superheroes at World War II, and they've been around for a long time, and some of them are international, and we've got big teams. There were alien invasions, and there's magic, and there's tech, and all of that kind of stuff. Just huge everywhere. And that, of course, changed the world. And unlike some of the comic book universes, there were accords that were set up mostly by the supers themselves to make sure that they weren't involved in too much politically, that nations couldn't draft high-powered superheroes. And so they kind of put limits on that. They're called the accords. There were a whole set of political institutions that were set up to kind of keep the balance of power throughout the world. And we had a big superhero team called the Ideal. They were the biggest. They were the JLA of this world, like the group that the Samaritan belongs to in Astro City, the big, powerful group spanning the world. So this goes on from World War II up to the present. All of these kinds of developments changed, happening all the time. Then, about 3 years ago, a object about 80 kilometers square, just a big cube, appeared in the sky, grayish, gave off no signals, no sense of what it wanted. And within the next 24 hours, every single super being of any decent power level vanished, gone. All that were left were not even the C-listers. We're down to the D, and even the ones that people forgot to put on the list. Those are the only ones kind of that were left around. All the rest gone. They call that incident Ragnarok, Twilight of the Gods. It is the time when all the supers went away, and that changed the world because all these supers were suddenly gone, and the government suddenly didn't have these enforcers that were holding leash on certain laws and things like that, and the balance of power began to shift. And more importantly, perhaps a year after that incident went down, this former sidekick hero named Red Scale, he served or rather was a sidekick to a guy named the Dragon. He wrote this tell-all book about the supers, telling about all the stuff that they had done, all the tech that was out there, all these things. And people began to say, oh God, look at all this stuff that's out there. And it started this movement of people for what they called DIY superheroes. People going on the internet, going out, trying to find all the old tech that had been left behind, magical artifacts, scrolls, contaminated super soldier serum, all of this stuff going on the black market. All right, in the black web, it's all out there. People are getting and doing these things, trying to do it, and they also began to hunt down super bases because there had been a company that had made these build-a-base kits. These were essentially nano construction facilities, these boxes that a villain or a hero could purchase and then put it down and then have it build a base to their specifications down below the surface in secret, hidden away. But it would then, they could populate it with all their trophies and tech and all that stuff. And so even in the midst of all of the government starting to kind of crack down and trying to take a hold of tech, we had people going out, the base raiders of the title, going out to break into places where they could and get the stuff. And they have many different reasons. Some of them are scientists looking for new technologies. Some people just want money. Some people want to enhance their super abilities. There are all kinds of reasons for that. There's all kinds of stuff in these bases. And there's no real records of them. All the people who knew about them are gone. So finding them is a trick. And there is an underground sort of network called Agora, which is where people go to sell stuff that they have and trade information, on the net. So you four are base raiders. You are delvers that go into bases when you can find them. There are some rules about going into bases. You should always tell somebody, but make sure that they don't maybe reveal where you've gone. You should always try to use the least destructive methods. Try to find out what you can about the base before you go in. Remember that if you found it, somebody else can. Don't trust strangers in a base because there's all kinds of creepy things that have been left around. Always take the proper delving gear, and I'll ask you guys about what you would take into an operation like this. Avoid, if you can, using untested gear that you find in a super base if you don't know what it does. Never let the base itself become a threat to the outside world. If there's some crazy ass shit in there, don't let it get out. Don't fully rely on powers. A lot of these super bases are built to have defenses against that, so you got to use your smarts. And finally, remember when you're in a base, you're always in danger. So those are the 10 rules that they give for this. I want to have you guys tell me who you are. We'll get all 4 of the characters on the table, and then I'm going to ask some questions. The assumption is going to be that you 4 have worked together at least once before, maybe in pieces and parts, and we'll ask about how that went down previously. So Jesse, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Tell us about your character, Roz.
Sure. So Raz, actually, but
Raz.
yeah. So I was actually looking at a totally different pre-gen until I realized that the what was this called? The psychic agent that on the run. Until I realized that the psychic agent on the run is basically an adult version of Raz or Rasputin from the old game Psychonauts. So I think,
wow, yeah,
so I think I'm basically playing kind of an older, more disillusioned, a little angrier version of Raz if things, basically things didn't go well the way that he'd hoped. So let's see. So psychic abilities like, I think he's got like telekinesis, and let me double check. So yeah, telekinesis, ability to fly. I can erect like psychic barriers. I can use it's like psychic blasts to be able to attack with. I can do a lot of, like psychic, getting information from people, basically digging into their brains. And I can communicate with the party, it looks like. So I think I'm out raiding bases. The couple of questions that you gave here to kind of prompt the background. What illness is your sister suffering from? And my sister's name is Myrtala, Mirtala. And she was actually psychic as well. Her personality and kind of the executive functions of her brain have been psychically walled off. Yeah, so it's a psychic disease, definitely, and
Cool.
that happened based on the organization that I'm running away from, the MP, or the metaphysicists. Yeah, so they basically took down the rest of the psychics in the group, and in the kind of the ensuing nastiness, they walled off this part of my sister's brain, and I'm kind of out delving into these bases, trying to find some way to lift that little blockage. And it's the kind of blockage where she can eat if you put food in front of her. She'll go to the bathroom by herself, that kind of thing. Can actually dress herself, but any type of human interaction, any bit of personality, there's just none of that. Let's see. And then it asks for a distinctive effect or trace that my powers leave behind. And I think that if I were more mentally balanced, I wouldn't leave anything behind, but I kind of leave a psychic imprint based on what I'm so obsessed with currently, which is my sister. And I think she has a thing for lavender. Always has, like perfume, lavender smelling, like likes to pick wild lavender, that kind of thing, at least before this happened. So those not affected by something I do smell lavender, a very strong scent of it in the air for quite a while after I do something psychically. Those that are affected, if I'm messing with their brains, they lose the ability to smell lavender permanently.
Huh.
They just lose that smell. Like no other nasty effect. Just they just can't smell lavender even if they put it right up to their nose.
That's a great detail.
That's all I've got so far. Unless you have any questions for me.
So, 20-something, is that kind of what you're imagining?
Yep. Early 20s, I'd say.
And I assume that Raz has like the aviator,
the goggles.
thing,
Yep.
the goggles,
the red tinted goggles. Absolutely. Yep. That's
okay.
Biggest physical detail you're going to notice. I mean, kind of sallow. I mean, I guess the character is actually kind of yellow skinned in the thing, so I just pictured him as kind of a sallow looking human. I think he's like kind of let himself go a little bit. He's got kind of the skinny fat thing going on, relatively thin, but with like a little bit of a belly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds excellent. Jason, tell us about Dr. Epsilon.
Are you sure you're ready for the mind of Dr. Epsilon? I do not believe
so.
you are. So yeah, I'm playing Dr. Epsilon, who is the genetically augmented intellect character you came up with, who is a clone of the villainous Dr. Pangloss. And it's best for me to just go over to the bio info. And it says, you're a clone of a now vanished supervillain. What was Dr. Pangloss known for? Dr. Albrecht Pangloss created numerous clones of himself, each with some variation. Dr. Pangloss Beta had animal powers, for example, while Dr. Pangloss Gamma was largely robotic. Each one also emphasized some alternative part of his personality. When he died, a new clone was activated. This was all in pursuit of a kind of perfected form, which Dr. Pangloss believed would move him closer to godhood. Dr. Epsilon embodies the egalitarian principles of his progenitor. He's trying to transhumanism for the world, and is gifted with an augmented ability to see connections between different events. These attributes caused him to renounce the villainy and the name that had plagued his line. However, this leaves people hunting him. Each one of these doctors, Dr. Pangloss Beta, Gamma, and leading up to Epsilon, each one of them has their own minions that are suited to that form. So it's basically various cults that worship Dr. Pangloss. And they know if they kill Dr. Epsilon, then they're probably going to get another clone who's probably going to be a villain. So they would rather have that. And also they feel kind of useless because each of them, once that their doctor was dead, they're just kind of left with no real purpose in life. So they would prefer to see him go down.
Awesome. Love the picture.
In terms of the character. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I use the doctor from Team Fortress 2. He's as a supervillain, he's super good at knowledge. He's great at STEM fields. And I'm like, oh, come on, no arts? But no, science, technology, engineering, and math. No STEAM for this guy. And he can see weaknesses with people that he fights, and he has a number of contraptions all over his body and a disguise maker. He also has a rather large thanks, Cat. Blaster that is highly effective in combat. And that about sums him up, I think.
Awesome. Awesome. So, is there like? Do you mention that there's a machine out there that churns out another?
No, I imagine
Pangloss?
it's well, not exactly. I mean, there's a different base somewhere. Each one wakes up in a different base because build a bases were so cheap. So they wake up there when the previous one is down. A little bit like Ultron, only organic.
Oh, nice. Very nice. All right. Dylan, tell us about Denny Blackstone, the Gutter Mage.
Yeah, sure. So Denny, Denny actually, about 25 years ago, checked himself into a mental institution and has been like in and out of these institutions all the time. Like these are like the typical comic book, on the hill kind of places. And what happens is, people when they need his help for base rating, they break him out. Kind of like Murdoch, like from the A-Team, like at the beginning of the missions. So they break him out. Nobody knows if he's really crazy or not. He's just definitely a strange guy, but he's brilliant and he's a good mage. So his powers. One of the questions is, what does his powers look like? And I think his powers look like kind of just like just a faint blue glow, like around whatever he's using. Like if he's firing some kind of like stopping power from his hands or something like that, it appears this like blue light. He's suffering from an illness in addition to the he doesn't, again, nobody knows if he's really mentally ill or not, but he does have a physical illness that he's slowly dying from. Doctors can't figure it out, no known pathology, and basically says maybe they'll name a disease after me one day. And then the third question is, what price did you pay to get your magic? And his answer is, maybe they'll name a disease after me one day.
Awesome. So how do you imagine when the supers got vanished, what was the reason he wasn't picked up? Do you think it's they didn't have his powers at the time? Or are they highly variable? Was he just crazy at that moment? What do you think?
Yeah, nobody. He sometimes he's able to fairly well mask. He was a lot better at masking his powers when he was younger, and just coming across as just somebody that needed extra care.
Awesome. All right, and I love the Gary Busey, especially because it's a little pixelated on my thing, so one eye looks like crazy wide, frightening on that. I love it. All right, Brian, tell us about Aurelio the Mongoose.
So I used to just be Aurelio or Ori, whatever people called me. The landlord usually just called me late, and I hit hard times. I was broke and I didn't have a girlfriend, and my car was in the shop, and I was basically making my money doing some small time cons and some thieving, but unfortunately my heart wasn't in it and I wasn't very good at it. And when I came across an ad for an online course that would teach me how to be a kick-ass martial artist, I kind of had to go for it. I mean, it's kind of my last shot. So I did, and it worked. It worked out. I was able to do things I couldn't do before. At first, it helped a little bit with the thieving, but I left that behind, and I got into the base rating aspect. And so now, my goals are to, become progressively better at my skills, get wealthy, get some girls, get a nice car. If some fame comes my way, so be it. Unfortunately, I didn't really finish my training because I do lack a little bit of mental focus and toughness in that regard. I'm pretty good, and I feel like I learned enough. It's probably enough. So I mean, why just keep beating a dead horse? So yeah, and that's the story of the Mongoose.
And so, what does Aurelio look like?
He looks pretty much like a regular white guy. He's actually Hispanic. He's half South American, and so he does speak Spanish, but he's culturally very American. And he's he's in good shape. He's and he is extremely limber. And from the way he walks, you can see that he's very in control of his own body when he crosses a room. But he doesn't stand out in any particular way.
All right. One thing I notice is I've got under the good skills, I have athletics, and that one after that should be physique, not provoke, because you provoke at +2. Physique should be there at +3.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've got this group together, so let me kind of ask some questions here. We'll go with stealing from the relationship cards thing for the classic stuff. So let me start with Raz. I'm going to say that wrong every damn time. Okay.
Don't worry, Raz will correct you.
Yeah. So Raz, you crossed paths when you were going into one of these bases, like one of your earliest stuff. You crossed paths with one of these three.
Yeah.
And almost got into a fight, but something happened to stop it. So who did you cross paths with, and what happened there?
I think it may have been Denny Blackstone, the gutter mage that I may have run into, and honestly, I think going through these, you see someone with crazy eyes like that coming at you, you're not going to ask questions. You're just going to start like firing psychic blasts at them. So but what I think happened, I think we were interrupted by some of the defenses, like automated defenses in this particular base. And I think it just all of a sudden became a fight for survival. And I think we actually just kind of unspoken ended up working together very well to defeat that. So by the time that was over, we were at least able to I wasn't going to just fight, shoot something at him ASAP. So I was like, who are you? And I think we kind of bonded after that, just to have at least a little bit of a moment of respite to get to know each other and figure out if we're actually enemies or are we going to be buddies.
It was like we had one of those psychic connections.
Yes, exactly.
So you were wandering around, Denny, in there when that happened. Had you wandered off from your team, or did you go in there alone, or were you the last survivor at that point?
I think my team had left because they thought that I was, they thought I was like crushed in a trap.
They left you behind. That's terrible. But
I don't blame them because they thought I was crushed in a trap.
Let me ask you then, Dr. Epsilon. You've worked with everybody here at least once. Which one of them do you think is most expendable?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Probably Aurelio. I mean,
I sense
he's point one, he's a meat shield. I mean, that's the whole point of you. And point two, Denny has a lovely disease for me to investigate, which I could actually name a disease after him. And the secrets of Raz's mind are as of yet untapped and present enormous potential for humanity in a transhuman sense. Whereas, what am I going to learn from Aurelio? He didn't even finish the training.
I am a complex guy. I'll prove you wrong. Yeah.
Awesome. Denny, one of these three that you've crossed paths with and interacted with now kind of remind you of someone from your past. Who is that, and how does that kind of complicate things?
With Doc. Yeah. Reminds me of a lot of docs, and I don't like him to. I don't trust his. If he gives me food or water, or anything, there's pills in it. I crush them up.
Okay, that is perfect. Aurelio, of the team, who do you consider your buddy?
Oh, I think only because he seems to be the only guy that really will just listen to me, like when I'm just talking at him, like for a while. It's got to be Dr. Epsilon. I mean, I think he really gets me, is what I feel like.
Awesome.
I thought you were going to say Raz because he like finishes your sentences.
I just hope my body doesn't let me down. Yeah.
You four have gotten a lead. You've gotten a lead on what may be a base belonging to a superhero named Biomancer. Biomancer was part of the Ideal. He was a scientist. He was constantly building new devices and things for himself. He actually figured out a way to make himself immune to mind control and mind reading. He created these little dermal super patches that you could put on to get temporary superpowers that were given to like rescue officers and things like that. And he had them around and stuff. Had a kind of reputation of being a dick, but was a pretty potent superhero. And so Raz, who's your contact that got you this info? Who is it that you kind of trust and that slid this to you?
Okay, I guess I think it's gonna be Ferguson. Ferguson, I think, is a someone that I interacted with kind of indirectly a lot when I was doing my psychic training with the rest of them. I think he was kind of a cleaner for like superheroes and stuff like that. He was the person that comes in and cleans up, messes and dealing with, and so he would occasionally deal with what we were doing as far as a group trying to do some good out there. Yeah. So I think he may have somehow gotten wind of this from previous dealings with Biomancer, possibly doing the same kind of service for him and his groups.
So let me ask you this about Ferguson then. Is he asking for a cut when all this is done, or did you pay him some money in advance?
I think it's a cut. I think he it might even be something specific in there.
Okay.
If that works.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he may be after some of those dermal patches.
Okay. Like he wants maybe some of the, like if there's a machine that makes them or, has some of the tech for it, he wants that. That seems good.
Yeah.
That seems good. Dr. Epsilon, when the group kind of heard about this, it was shared around, and you kind of did some poking around, research about this base. What's one secret that you heard about it? One like detail that you heard about this base?
Given the nature of the person running it, that it is in part organic.
Okay. Part organic. Do you suppose that Pangloss fought Biomancer?
Almost certainly.
Okay. All right.
They're kind of in the same oeuvre.
Okay.
And the previous Dr. Panglosses would have been like, You fool! You could be using that technology to grow ever closer to godhood. Instead, you waste it upon the pathetic minions of a defunct government. Or something like that.
TM. All right. Yeah. No, I love that. Let me ask you then, Denny. You've heard about Biomancer, and maybe you heard some stuff about the base, and maybe you kind of looked around. You've got pretty good knowledge. What's one specific danger you're supposed to look out for, that you need to look out for?
The surveillance system.
Okay. What about it?
It's almost like precognitive. Or maybe it is a little precognitive.
Excellent. Anticipates your action. It detects future crime in the base. That's pre-crime. Awesome. So Aurelio, did you do any extra prep? Did you put anything together to gather any special extra equipment, anything like that, before you came?
I did.
Okay.
I gathered up the equipment that I think would be useful and necessary. We don't know what the condition of the base is, so we're going to need some climbing equipment. I also brought some snorkel equipment in case we need to get under the water. Kind of a good bag full of stuff that I think would be useful across a wide range of situations and environments. And I had my girlfriend / researcher Christina, kind of find out whatever she could about the base, a little bit about this almost scary AI surveillance system, maybe, and when's the last time anybody's seen it, and made sure that she maybe packed little goodies for me in my bag.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got the various food supplies and stuff that you would take into the base: water, food, all the 5 uses of dungeon rations
Exactly.
that you've got for everybody. So that seems cool. Raz, what's one special piece of gear that you got a hold of to bring?
Wow. I think so. I think sometimes these defenses and bases can. Oh wait, no, that kind of contradicts what you were going for with Biomancer. Maybe. Oh wow, I'm kind of.
It could also be Raz specific. Like, if you know the base is part organic, maybe it's something that enhances your ability to communicate with it or something.
I'm having trouble hearing that. Are you? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Would you do it cut out there for a minute for you?
He froze for a moment on my screen.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a minute there. Was that on my end, I think?
Yeah, we're getting a little. You may actually need to. Let me see here. Your connection is doing. Now you seem fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just happened for like 10 seconds or so.
Okay.
So. Okay.
Raz specific. Like, since the base is part
Sure.
organic, maybe it enhances your ability to communicate with large creatures, or something like that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It could be. In the Eagles, I think this is actually that like aviator style cap with like one single antenna coming out the top of it, and I think it just might my ability to communicate with non-human things.
Perfect. Sounds great. Dr. Epsilon, what kind of area is this base located in?
Again, I think because of the person, it needs to be something that is rich with life. You know what? I'm going to go with swamp.
Swamp. Okay.
Yep. We'll go with like a southern. Let's go with a Florida swamp. Why not?
Okay. Deep in a Florida swamp. That's messy and mucky. And of course, it gets us a chance to see you guys all on one of those big propeller boats riding out there, gator style. So let me ask you this, Denny. What's been the thing that, like, the signal or sign or leakage or indicator that has given away this base to the outside world, to Ferguson's people?
I think for some unknown reason, while the like rest of the like swamps and stuff are rising in Florida, this one is kind of like draining. Drain the swamp.
And so you four have headed into the swamp. You've got one of those propeller boats. It's humid out. It's summer. It's hot down in Florida. You've got your equipment loaded into the boat. But we've gotten to the place you think it is, and there's kind of a major terrain obstacle facing you right now. What is that, Aurelia? What is the thing you guys are facing right now that you have to get past?
Wasn't on the maps, but there's a large sort of sandbar type situation with some mangrove trees on it. There's no way we're getting this fan boat through there.
Okay. So you guys will ride up this fan boat, kind of hit this sandbar. You can hear birds, the sound of the insects out there. You'll hear the sploosh, of gators and things going down into the water. And you guys can dismount onto the sandbar. It's somewhere around here. So what would be your standard operating procedure at this point? Open this up now to the group. This is my version of, so what are you going to do?
I think probably Dr. Epsilon is just going to start telling people what to do, with the assumption that his vastly superior intellect and leadership should save the day there.
Okay.
So unless someone says otherwise, he's just going to start bossing people around. Raz, use your mental powers and scan and see if any of the biomancers' creations are around. Perhaps they were sentient, or perhaps they're simply meat. I presume, Denny, that your magic would give you some kind of access to locating the base. Aurelio, I guess, don't let us get eaten.
The guy is so smart and he's so nice. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
I think,
Raz, let's start with
yeah,
you.
yeah. Yeah, I think I shake my head. You know, I really in most any other situation, I wouldn't let someone like him be kind of calling the shots. But you know, I really don't care. I'm just here to find something for my sister. I'll put up with this, you know, blowhard until I find what I want. So yeah, I kind of shake my head, but I bring my glasses down onto my eyes, fingers up to my head, and I'm just kind of like scanning around to try and like see if I can detect anything dangerous that my psychic powers would detect.
Okay. So probably because, well, you know, you can kind of communicate with people you know and things like that. You can kind of use this as a way to ping there being odd things around here.
Sure.
Let's do that as though an investigate roll. That's sort of the fiction for your investigate.
Okay,
So
that's
your
perfect.
investigate is a +2. Go ahead and roll the fate dice with that +2. This is going to be what we call a discover action. This is an optional action, not in Fate Core.
Okay.
And depending on what you get, you'll get some questions.
Ooh, I guess I'm not sure how this works. I clicked on the die right below it there, and it asked me for a modifier.
Just say no.
Say, okay, just
No
submit
mod.
at 0. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. What did I get?
All
right.
So you get a 3.
3.
That's a pretty good one. So you rolled a +1 there. If you ever want to see what dice you rolled, you can always mouse over the number there.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. Doesn't seem like a place where you would necessarily want to spend. So what is your big question here? When you're using this, you're kind of looking around, investigating. What is the thing you want to know?
Okay, my biggest thing I'm looking for is there anything? I could probably only psychically tap into living things. So is there anything living lying in wait for us to defend, you know, the entrance to this place as I guess what I'm trying to intuit first?
It doesn't seem like there are any like bio guardians out here, like no active biological defenses.
Yeah.
But you can sense a larger mind mass, you know, over the sandbar and off into the water of this next section of mangrove trees there.
Okay. All right.
So there's something there, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly what.
Okay, a larger mind. You mean like more than just a person that I would, you know, like it pings as more than that or not?
Yes, stronger.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think I do my thing, and I turn around and I'm like, there is something over there, and I point to the direction. I'm like, a mind, something larger than human, something more powerful.
Denny,
gotta watch out.
Denny, you were second called out by the doctor, so.
So I think Denny knows just from reading a lot of books in the hospital. He knows a lot of, and he's got a good memory. He knows a lot about hydro like dynamics and hydro, you know, flow of water and stuff. And he's eating some gummy bears, and he knows that if he flicks some gummy bears through the mangroves into the body of water next to him, and waits a few moments, he can, by watching where the gummy bears float, he could calculate where the water is flowing, like where the entrance might be.
Ooh, excellent.
Water it's flowing into.
Let's have you roll. Let me get your little skill sheets up here. Let's have you roll knowledge.
Okay. Did it go?
I think you have to put a modifier in. It's going to ask you for that every time.
Oh, the modifier has to go in every time.
Yeah.
So.
Which will always be 0 unless some circumstance affects it.
Yeah, well, I had 0 on it. That was. There you go.
Oh yeah,
7.
So you kind of flick some gummy bears, and you guys are kind of watching as he does this, and you'll see the gummy bears kind of float across the water over to this spot where you can see just underneath the water. Maybe you're seeing like the top of some kind of dome. Just the light is kind of catching it, and these gummy bears kind of float around in a like there's some water circulating there above it.
And then he goes, "Ta-da! I'll be here all night."
Aurelia, what do you want to do?
I want to check it out.
Okay.
That looks pretty promising. So I'm going to put away my my vape and
Okay.
hunt around in my oversized bag, which I'm a little self-conscious about because you guys didn't bring quite as much stuff as I did. Until I find my scuba stuff, put it on my head, and dive in the water.
Okay. Let's have you make a physique roll here.
All right. I'm sorry. Where am I rolling this now?
Oh, so what you'll do is you'll go to on your sheet, and you can click on that row with that. You see below. So it should be here. I'll type in physique. Actually, sorry, I should have done that.
Oh, that's right. It's replaces provoke, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
And you'll hit the button, and then it'll say, "Do you have a modifier?" And you'll say no because it's already adding in a 3.
All right.
All right. So you can definitely get down and get below the water, and you've got it would be a little bit of flashlight. It looks like the dome goes down, and it's almost like a big helmet kind of thing that goes down in there, maybe with like kind of a face thing on the front of it, almost like a skull sort of thing. And there's definitely a mechanized door here, and you kind of can brush and see that there is like an entry plate here, down about 30 feet below the water.
Okay. Fairly deep.
Yeah.
Is it something that I can? I'm gonna pop back up and say, guys, it's definitely the base. There's an entry plate about 30 feet below the water. It's like a monumental structure shaped like a huge helmet, a lot like if I had a base. Very similar. So it looks like we're gonna get wet, unless somebody else has an idea.
So since Biomancer did not himself have the ability to swim, he probably had some kind of remote. Hold on, Biomancer truly was the worst of heroes. But as I recall, he did not have the ability to breathe underwater. He could have used his patches to breathe for longer, but that would have been wasting valuable tech. Therefore, he probably had some kind of remote control. Hacking the signal should be exceedingly simple. So I'm going to try and hack whatever remote signal he used to raise the darn thing.
Perfect. That seems like a tech roll to overcome the security here. I'm going to set the difficulty of the security at this is pretty high tech. You're getting this up here. Just to get it raised to 4, you're going to need to beat a 4.
So I have a tech of 3. However, my implanted memories will give me a +2 on this roll.
Yes.
So I type in a 2, not a plus, but just a 2 on the modifier. Eventually, I get it right.
Yes.
So you tie it. So it comes up, but it's a little jerky. So it kind of boom, 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 starts to rise up, and then it kind of sticks, starts to go down a little, goes back up, like a garage door that kind of gets stuck on the signal thing, and completely around. And eventually, it will rise up out of the swamp here. Looks like the algae and stuff have clung to it and discolored it, and it looks like it's actually purple.
This is why only a fool would build their base under a swamp.
and there's a little door with a security pad on it. The base is not that big. It's maybe the size of like a 3-story house.
Huh. It looked bigger underwater. Because of the
optics.
the refraction, whatever. Yeah.
Honestly, it just makes sense for Dr. Epsilon to try and use the plate to enter, because that's kind of his thing.
Okay.
So see if he can hack through it.
So you can. How does Dr. Epsilon get over?
That's a good question. He doesn't especially want to swim it.
I can use
Fate points. Yeah,
telekinesis to ferry you over there.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Travel in style, as unto a god.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Okay, let me just double check. So it says
Yeah.
I can use large lifting human-sized objects is a fair obstacle, 2+.
I'm going
I
to
don't
say
know
you
how
won't
that
need
works.
to roll here simply because we're kind of in a non-com situation. I think that
Cool.
makes sense.
Kind of wish I could fail the roll and drop him in the water, though.
Bloop.
If you wanted to drop Dr. Epsilon, and I would understood it if you do it,
Nah.
you totally could do it.
Nah, I'm ferrying you over there. It's all good.
Be sure not to allow the mud to touch the boots. They are very difficult to clean.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think I basically like create a small like purple see-through disc that you're able to step on, which then will kind of ferry you over there.
Ooh, Tensor's flying disc.
I was hoping Denny would make the comment.
That's awesome. Man.
So flies you over. There is a pad here. Now you can tell that this is a little more dangerous because there are clearly going to be some defenses here. So it's a little more difficult, a little more consequence and risk here.
I will take advantage of the fact that I rocket investigate and try to actually examine the mechanic first.
Sure. Let's have you make a roll.
All right. So once again, this uses the powerful world of STEM, and therefore I get a bonus. Behold, STEM education at its finest.
Okay.
Still only got a 4.
So that'll give you a boost on your attempt then. So a boost is a +1 in addition to everything else for your attempt to break it with tech.
Yep. All right. So I'll give that a shot. I'm just trying to look at the math that it came out. Like, I normally don't play Fate on this thing, so it's interesting to see how it does math on it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I meant to ask. We've got 2 aspects that say EX1 and EX2.
Yes, you can write those in at any time, and you'll get a fate point.
All right.
Okay.
Just so that I'm clear on that. I wasn't real sure. All right. So
everybody else has a refresh of 1 except for Denny. Denny has a refresh of 2, which means he has 2 fate points to start.
Denny has 1.
Oh, that's not Denny. Aurelio.
Oh.
So you said I get a +1 on this from the boost, right?
Yep.
All right. There we go.
Whoa.
So yeah. So what does it look like when you hack this console here?
So what happens is the whole thing about Dr. Epsilon is that he's better at seeing connections. So he's looking at it first as a technological thing, and then he looks at where some of the seaweed has gotten in, and then he takes his gun and like points at the seaweed and actually freezes it, which makes it expand and it just pops open.
Nice.
Yeah, and then it's pretty easy for him to just take the wires and reroute it, and then he's like, "Never build your base under a swamp."
and there will be a door panel that opens up, and the sort of the front door kind of stoop that you're standing on will actually extend out to create a bridge over to the sandbar that the others can simply walk across. And so Dr. Epsilon has opened this up. So what are you guys doing when we look in on Denny and Aurelio now that this has been pulled up, dredged from the depths?
All right, time to go. Shoulder my big bag, make a joke about bridge over troubled waters, and head on over to the dock. Which,
okay.
Man, I wish I could have seen the magic when he was actually doing the magic to open it. That would have been so cool.
So he'll get over there and going on in. Or are you going to wait for the team to gather here?
I'll go in.
Okay.
I don't feel like "wait" is the term that you apply to Aurelio, really.
He's already antsy. He's
Okay. So Aurelio heads in. Who goes in immediately after him? Yes, I am asking for marching order.
Oh. Okay. So the one hand-to-hand
I'll go
fighter,
next.
because
That's
it is a
fine.
dungeon
Okay.
crawler, has got in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aurelio, Raz.
Raz will go next.
Uh,
I kind of look at the dock and just. I drop a gummy bear down after him and be like, "Watch this." No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't work that way. And then I step down after. Raz.
Okay. So Aurelio and Raz, you'll come in and you can see that it's a large circular chamber that you've walked into. There are some consoles around the sides. There is a sort of a walk-in chamber on the far wall, maybe about 4 or 5 feet deep, 6 feet wide, maybe 8 feet tall, kind of inset into the wall. And the whole thing, the dome kind of goes up, and there are these little like wraparound shelves, metal shelves, and it looks like there may be specimen cases or things like that are up in that area. And there are 3 bodies in the chamber. 2 of them sort of just seated on chairs, and another one kind of collapsed to the floor.
Ooh. I'll check out the one on the floor.
Okay. You go over. It looks like a guy in kind of a tech jumpsuit. He's clearly been dead for several years, sort of that natural process of decay, kind of skeletal here. And it looks like there's a gun by him and that he actually shot himself.
Oh. What the hell happened here?
What are you doing, Raz?
Yeah. So I think no worries. It's fine. Yeah. So I think So there are these shelves like up pretty high. You say.
Yeah. So they're up maybe about 10, 12 feet. There are a couple
Sure.
of different shelves up there.
Yeah. I think I looking around and I'm like, okay, everything here is everybody else can take a look at that, but I think I step onto a purple glowing disc similar to the one that I ferried the doctor across on, and I just kind of levitate myself up to them. It says here I'm allowed to fly vertically through the air as easily as moving. What does that say? As easily as moving along the ground.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm basically flying up and kind of doing a scan of the things on these shelves to determine what there is, if there's anything dangerous or if there's anything valuable to us.
When you get up there, there are sort of broken up segments, and they are sort of 3 stacked rectangles with like barcodes on them of like white plastic shelves. Like things must be in those. Must be a scan code for them. And then every couple of those, there's a spacer and there's a sort of up and down vertical black shelf that doesn't have a barcode on it. Or not shelf, but box. So these are sort of the panels you're seeing. White ones and then the black one, and then more white ones. Okay. What do you want to do?
Ooh, up I think you.
I'm sorry?
Just said.
Oh,
sorry.
What do you want to do?
Yeah. Okay. So I've got all these things with barcodes on them, and I have these black boxes with no barcodes, right?
That is correct.
Okay. I think I'd probably start by looking at the things without the barcodes. Like take a look in one of those boxes if I'm able to figure out, if I don't know if they open easily or not.
Sure. So yeah, when you kind of reach out and touch one, it opens easily. It actually, you hear this, whoosh, and this panel kind of pops open, and you will see these like hornets. They're like about this big, okay, and they're about 3 of them in there, and they begin to come out at you. We'll come back to you in just 1 second. So tell me what you're doing during this, Denny.
So is this during the time that everybody started doing the thing, or during the time that the hornets are actually coming out?
You tell me where we taking up here.
So I think before, as he's stepping on his platform, like going over, it starts to look before he actually releases the hornets. Are the bodies in the chairs, are they near each other? Or so?
Yeah.
Okay. So and they're at consoles?
Yeah.
So I think I go like between the 2 chairs and like kind of sit on the console, but like on the edge of it, close enough to reach them. And I'm actually like just talking to them, like having casual conversation with the bodies, as asking them about like, you Gators fan, you catch the game, as I'm searching through them and like, looking for, reaching into their pockets, pulling out like their name badges and trying to figure out like, searching the bodies.
Oh, okay. Let's have you do an investigate check for me.
Okay. And that's going to be on investigate skill's not that great. Let's give it a go.
It's almost like Denny is slightly distracted all the time.
So I really won on my investigate. What do I need to?
I'll give you a. Since this isn't particularly difficult, I'll give you 1 question, but that's it.
And if I have a 3,
I'd give you a question and a follow-up.
I'll just take the question.
Fair enough.
How'd these guys die?
So it looks like they actually kind of starved to death in here. Like they were clearly locked in. And that if you check the gun only had 1 bullet. So they essentially sat here and starved to death. They're in the same sort of uniform as the guy on the floor. Something happened. They were locked in. They couldn't get out.
Okay. So the moment I realize that, I hear Raz. So we're back to present.
Okay. So we cut back to present. Dr. Epsilon, you've come in, kind of look up. You see your team is fine and investigating very well here, looking around, and you see Raz kind of up there, and then you'll hear this of these 3 giant angry hornets. They look like Japanese hornets. I don't know if you've seen those. They are, in fact, that big. And they are a nightmare to look at. So these 3 things are coming at you, and it looks like they are going to try and bite at thee. So you're going to make a defend action against them.
Okay.
This is Raz.
Okay.
Let me have Raz do his defend action, and then we're going to come down to you, Dr. Epsilon. I just want to give you the sitch. So, Raz, how do you defend?
Yeah, I think so one of my abilities is erecting psychic barriers. So I think I'm going to try and like kind of like with a curved barrier, like wall them in almost, or at least use it to block their current attack at me.
Sure. All right. So what you're going to do then is you're going to roll your will against their attack.
Okay. Rolling will, and I guess I'm still not sure how the modifier things work, so I'm not worrying about modifiers.
Nope. You just put 0 in there.
Did that go through?
There we go. Yeah. So
go through. Yeah. Okay. I rolled a 3.
So you tie.
Breaking up about this.
You tie them, so they will hit that barrier, but they're kind of pressing through.
Ooh, could you guys hear? Sorry, I missed the last little bit. My connection got a little funky on me.
Sure. You stop them. but they are kind of pressing through. They're clearly going to be on you next round and like right in your face if they get a chance to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Epsilon. Muted.
I said blast them.
All right. Let us have you make your attack against these horrible hornets.
I will do that. Unfortunately, this does not involve STEM in any way. So, well, so currently it's a 2. What do I need to hit them?
Right now, you've tied, so you would need to beat a 2 to do damage to them.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy to have a boost.
Okay.
I forget, can I pass boosts on to other people?
Not generally, no.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold on to the boost.
Okay, so you get a +1 against them if they're still around on the following round. Aurelio.
I'm going to yell, Roz, get down here. Come down here by me. And I'm going to prepare myself for the Iron Cyclone.
All right, get yourself set. What does that prep look like?
It's like a whole series of katas that I engage in, and there's some stretching, and I'm very, very ready.
All right. And Denny.
So I think I want to. There's kind of 3 of them still buzzing around.
Yeah, right in Raz's face.
In Raz's face.
Just doing weird things. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to pull out my 38 stub nose and just try and go blam blam blam.
All right, roll aim.
And I'm good. Well, I'm going to use my stunt that says I may use knowledge. Oh, that's or I may use knowledge instead of aim to attack at range.
Yes.
So I'm going to roll with knowledge, or I'm going to shoot with knowledge.
I'm going to shoot with knowledge is my new catchphrase.
Look at that, 5.
Nice.
So you will actually take out 2 of them. Kind of boom, boom, bullets, and 2 of these things explode. You will, however, hit like some of that sample case things. And that does shake, and you'll realize that there are more of these black plastic things that just got shook by that up there.
Oh no.
We'll come back to that. Raz, this last hornet is coming for your face. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I think at this point, no more defense. I think I'm just going to straight up attack it. So I'm going to use kind of like a ranged psychic blast, which basically looks like me headbutting the air in front of me and then like a bolt coming out of my forehead.
Okay.
Psychic headbutt. It's a classic.
Yes. All right. So is that will?
Yes.
Okay. Rolling will. All right. Roll a 3.
So you will wound it, but it is still up. And so again, roll your will as a defense against it.
Rolling will. Got a 5 for defense.
Ooh, you may, unless I roll really well on this. No. So trying to stab through, and it will not get at you on this.
Doesn't that give him a success with style there?
It would, except I left off 2 modifiers on there, so
okay.
essentially 2 more on there. The boost and it should have been a 3. So it's hear that buzzing. It's right in your ears, but you've held it back, Dr. Epsilon.
Woot! With the power of science. All right. So rolling with aim +1. Hopefully it's a better shot. Nope. Still a crappy shot.
This hornet is dynamite.
Yeah, I think you rolled well. I straight up missed him.
Yes. Aurelio, he hasn't come down. You prepared your kata. There's still this one hornet up there.
It's it's frustrating. Can I jump onto the counter, one of the consoles, and from there leap towards the unsuspecting hornet and just obliterate it with a sort of a palm strike?
Sure, I'll give it a +1 to its defense because the movement. But let's say you can do it.
All right. Very well. Let's see here. So this is this fight or athletics?
This would be fight for you.
Fight. Okay. All right.
Ooh.
Here.
Hornet's luck has turned.
Fight is something Aurelio's pretty good at.
So Aurelio, you absolutely squash this thing. What is that? What does that strike look like?
There's like a brief moment when my palm hits the side of the huge hornet where nothing happens, and then it just obliterates into a thick yellow spray against the wall.
Everywhere. Just this
Oh,
splatter.
Hate hornets. They ruin picnics. It's just... You okay, Ross?
I'm good. And I think I come up to you like looking for like a high five, and then I very quickly like put my hand down and realize,
Yeah.
no, not with that.
I'm gonna get that cleaned off. It's not a problem. Yeah.
No. Wipe that hand off. Yeah.
Because you didn't slap, fully into those boxes, it doesn't look like you've activated any of these other containers.
That's good.
So I think I'll just look around kind of like with a sheepish grin on my face and be like, guys, I'd avoid touching the black boxes.
Oh man, aren't you curious though? I mean, there could be like lampreys in here or pterodactyls.
Why do you believe that is a good thing? In what
Maybe.
world could that possibly be a good thing? That is not what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's true. That would be really, it'd be hard to fence that. Yeah.
Do
You're
not
right.
touch anything.
Is there anything else of value on the desiccated bodies?
It doesn't look like there's much else here. It looks, when you guys move around and Dr. Epsilon checks things out, it actually looks like those are sort of remote hornets that actually have kind of a weird organic group mind. Potentially the console is used to send them out to gather biosamples. And bring them back, and these people are like cataloging those. The only thing that sort of is different outside of that is that inset panel at the end is clearly something mechanized, and there's an activation panel there for that these people clearly tried to get to work and weren't able to.
But there's nothing to no journal, no computer, and nothing like that. There's the activation panel, the dead people, and a whole lot of robo-wasps.
Yes.
Right. All right.
Yes.
Okay, but
you guys can
boxes up there
certainly.
with the What about those boxes up there? I'm sorry, that had like barcodes and stuff on it. Do we intuit that those are just samples at this point, or
Those are going to be samples. Now, here is the mechanism for this game that I'm going to talk about. If you want, we can do a salvage roll for this room, which means you pick a skill, probably investigate or tech or knowledge, and someone rolls and the gets a +3 because there are 3 other people helping, and depending on your shifts, you can get some stuff. You can get some intel. Or some gear, or just plain loot, stuff that you can sell.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Is there a reason to not just do the salvage roll?
Nope. You do. This is sort of when you completed kind of checking out the room. This is the thing you want to do before you move on.
Okay.
So generally, we'll rotate this roll. Who's going to lead on it? So Roz, we're going to start with you for this one.
Okay.
Tech, investigate, knowledge. What's your best thing here?
All right. Both investigate and tech are at +2.
Okay.
So let's see.
You're going to get +2 plus another 3 from your companions helping you out.
Okay, so I add that as the modifier.
Yep.
And do I have to do a plus or just the number?
Just the number.
Just the number.
Okay. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did that roll?
Yeah.
All right.
So you've got 4. So now you can convert that into 4 points of loot. That's stuff that you can sell valuable. That's a chunk of money there.
Mhm.
Or for every 2 points of that roll that you want to turn in, you can get a piece of intel, which you can turn in later to ask a question or declare a fact about a situation.
Okay.
Or a piece of gear that you can name and produce later for an effect or for a +2 bonus on a roll.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh.
I have just I'm figuring, guys, just tell me what you think about this, but it seems to me this first room is not probably going to have the best stuff of the whole place in it, So
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe the loot is not the best choice for this first one. I
Yeah,
don't know
but-
what you guys think about it.
I was kind of thinking that you might split it between loot and intel, so take 2 loot and 1 intel. But
Or can he bump it up to? Can he
I'm
bump
good
it up
with
to
that.
6 if he creates an aspect for himself?
I couldn't catch that. Sorry.
If he creates an aspect for himself and spends that fate point immediately, can he bump it up to a 6?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you want to do that, like,
I do not know really how aspects work
Okay.
super well. So
Oh, so here's what it is at any time, if you want to spend a fate point to bump something up,
Mhm.
you can say, well, I am a psychic agent on the run, so I've gotten this training. I'm going to spend one of my fate points, call on that aspect, and give myself a +2. That's the usual way that you use it. If something were to push you that, okay, I want to do this because I want to find a cure for my sister, you could use that aspect.
Okay.
You could write in a new aspect for yourself, and you would immediately get a fate point.
Ooh, okay. I have 1 to spend though right now, just because I have 1, right?
Yep.
So I don't need it. Okay, so I think I could definitely use, if I'm looking for intel, I think stuff in here that could be cure for my sister might make sense intel wise. Is that like
Perfect.
if I could push that way, that I'm looking for that kind of thing?
Yeah. Spend a fate point, and now you have 6 points to divide.
Okay.
Between loot, gear, and intel.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I still split it between loot and intel. The reason being that the gear is effectively, it's more or less the equal to a fate point. So you would just be getting a fate point back. Like you could, that's functionally speaking, that's more or less what it is.
Yeah.
So I think you're better off with a split between info and loot. And I'd probably take 2 loot and 2 info just because of what you spend it for.
I'm up for that. That sound good to everybody else?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. We'll do that. Yeah. 2 intel, 2 loot.
Okay. All right. And when you use that, we'll figure out exactly what it is that you have generated there.
Cool.
Are you keeping track of the loot on something somewhere?
I should do that.
I'm just asking.
Put it in the chat. I'll make sure I write that down before we're done.
Okay.
So what do you guys want to do?
You said there was a recessed area in the back?
Yeah, like a walk-in thing. Open space in a control panel by it.
Denny's also going to reload his 38 before. His ammo is actually loose in his gummy bears bag.
Yuck.
Kind of coppery taste to the gummy bears thing.
I thought about making fun of Denny, but given the fact that I was firing an extremely high-powered blaster and missed every time, and he hit with the 38, I kind of feel like I can't.
He's very accurate.
Plus, the doc knows that then you can beat him in chess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless someone does something super impulsive, Dr. Epsilon will make a move towards the tech and investigate it. See if he can figure out how it functions.
This you will recognize is a transporter, a teleporter pad, and this is the panel to activate it. It clearly has been turned off, and these people were trying to activate it to get back to wherever they came from, and it did not work.
All right. Can I make it work?
Absolutely, you can try.
All right, I will do that thing. Probably looking at tech,
Oh yeah.
I presume. Yeah. All right. The power of STEM compels you. All right, so that's a 7.
This is so yeah, you'll be able to get this thing working and be able to check and get a clear signal that the other pad is not occupied. That's the bonus for such a good roll, that it is clear and not hazardous where you come in.
Mm-hmm. So, we've got 3 dead people, and Dr. Epsilon's like, just rewires it a little bit, and he's like, this is why you should always complete the training. And he gives meaningful looks to the other people on the team.
Yeah, for most people, it's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they don't call me Bachelor Epsilon or Master Epsilon.
Well, I have a feeling that at some point my bachelor's in political science is going to come in handy while we're down here, and then you guys will be thankful.
Yes, you could understand why the world fell apart, largely because of people without enough STEM degrees.
Doctor, do we know where this leads to? Where the other side of this pad is?
We don't, right?
Nope.
No, but I'm using
one moment here, because I would like to actually use my my foresee the future stunt thing and ask the GM if we follow this course of if we were to get into the teleporter, where would it take us?
Nice.
Because
I'm very curious.
So while you do that, Dr. Epsilon is actually going to be saying, no, there's no way science could ever predict where we would land. There's no human mind that could understand. I can guarantee you it's clear. I can guarantee you we're safe, but it's impossible to have any idea.
You can see yourselves teleporting through, and you see a larger facility, with stuff in it and all kinds of things and other things moving, and you'll see flashes of danger and maybe fights, but fat loot is certainly in the cards there.
Is it like another? It takes us to like another base.
Oh, it takes you to the base.
The base.
This is but a satellite of a much larger base.
Hold on a second, Doc. And I hold up a gummy bear, and I hold it in my ear, and I whisper to the gummy bear and hold in my ear. Doc, that teleporter actually will take us to the base, where there's full of fat loot.
There are times I hate you, Denny Blackstone.
And I eat the gummy bear.
Why?
No witnesses.
No witnesses. So, if you're prepared to activate that panel, you can do so.
What are we waiting for?
Well, I was considering creating an army of robotic wasps to serve our whim.
Well, that would be
That
cool.
would take it would be cool, but they would take. I mean, no, it would be excellent. Really a prodigious use of my intellect, but it would also take a substantial amount of time, and I don't want to. So let's go.
Right. Okay, so gather your gear together, move on to this panel, and you can activate it, and there'll be that flash. And we'll take a bio break, and we'll come back in 5.
Oh man,
Love it.
sounds good.
Very good.
All right, 35. So I have 40.
What up? It's a very different relationship than with Squid and Psycho.
Yeah,
I think that's the only other game we've ever played together.
I think so. Yeah, I was just thinking that one during the bio break.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, you must think I
Lol.
always play crazy characters now.
I suspect you do, but I'm all
This
right
is
with
really
it.
like the second time I think
I actually, the thing is, I really love mad scientist characters, and because I know I love them so often when I play a game, I try to play like anything else, just so I'm not playing the type. But every once in a while, I'm like, no, I must engage the beast. So,
I love that he has a German accent too.
Yep.
yep, he's one part Snape and one part the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. So,
I have pulled up the map on Roll20.
yeah,
that was cool.
It's
Dungeon
it's
crawl.
no Blue Medusa, which is the craziest goddamn map I've ever seen.
It's a little easier to understand.
Yeah.
Well, you get extra points for those pre-gens. I really loved all of them. It was honestly kind of hard to choose.
It was.
Yeah, they're really well constructed. What did you use to make them?
So this is sort of the third iteration I did of those characters, those pre-gens, because I'd originally built them for the Base Raiders thing when I actually ran it with Strange Fate, and I had adapted some of the things they had and made some stuff of my own. And then I did it with action cards and ran a session of that. And then for this, I just took kind of Fate core and went through and built powers with stunts. That seemed the easiest way to do things.
Using Atomic Robo style?
Yeah, well, actually, most of what I drew from were standard stunts and Venture City Stories.
Mm.
It has some of the power stunts. But if we were like a power level up, there's some collateral effects and powers and things that you can do, and you can kind of push and get extra effects in Venture City, but that didn't feel like right for the power level that's just kind of doing.
I presume you just activate the drawbacks and like a compel, if you ever
Yeah,
felt
so
like
the drawbacks are a voluntary thing on your part, and it can be used as an aspect. Once per story, you can mark it, and when you do that, you can either add +4 to a roll or negate all damage from a single source.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but
And then it shuts down the power.
It's going to cause the thing either a burnout, or it's going to cause you a big negative aspect, or you're going to cause a bunch of damage to things you don't want to damage.
Okay.
We'll give Roz a minute here. It looked like he dropped out.
By rebooting, maybe.
Probably. That is the horrors of these things. I think everything else is basically the same as Fate, except for the Discover action being the 5th action.
No, I really like how the powers are built, because they feel iconic, but they don't feel overpowered. You know, especially for what we're doing, and that's always a tricky thing to manage.
Yeah,
and there's also the whole puny human aspect to it that you can get into, where it just becomes frustrating. Like, I used to play a lot of Mutants and Masterminds, and in the first iteration of Mutants and Masterminds, especially, there was almost a required power creep. Like, you always had to hit your level max, and there was no real way to get past a Superman, so. Which is probably why they use that for DC Comics, because it's much more fitting for that than Marvel, frankly. But
yeah. Ran a lot of Mutants and Masterminds in all the editions. And yeah, there is that creep that you get with that one.
Mhm.
It also takes much longer to make up a character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to like it because you could. I mean, it was like a more focused GURPS in some ways because you
Yeah.
could do almost anything.
What's interesting is I think now 5 or 6 different
But
Fate superhero systems. And they take very different approaches. Like there's Daring Comics is like super crunchy point wise. And then Wearing the Cape I just picked up, and it's very much set to a specific universe. And so it's a little odd. It does some interesting things, but it's a little limited in that. There's a lot of, and then you can just make shit up. Like,
when Atomic Robo had first come out, well, let me find it here. I went ahead and statted up the heroes from the second Captain America movie. Here you go.
Oh,
So, yeah, and that was just with Captain America. So it's just Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow. And within that system, like the problem with bringing Cap to play is that it basically flat out fills the GMs.
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yeah.
But I'm having connection
Fate.
issues.
Yes,
I mean, if you just leave the video off, I mean, we'll miss your beautiful face, but it'll help your connection. So yeah, if you use Cap, then the GM gets a lot of fate points because he's got a lot of powers. But anyway, that's how I statted them up at the time.
oh, very cool. I'll take a look at that closer a little bit later. I like that.
You know,
Uh,
a little out
Robo
of
would
date.
be good for
Oh,
Agents of
shoot.
S.H.I.E.L.D.
we lost
Yeah.
him.
No.
Guess he's trying again. Yeah.
Well, let's press forward a little bit and get him in when he comes back in, if that's okay with you guys.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So you will feel that distortion of the teleportation chamber, and then you find yourself in a massive teleporter room. Like you were in a kind of a small chamber, and now you're in a big room, clearly sort of industrial versions of that. Like we can, you can see that maybe other things like larger scale things could be teleported in here. And there are some panels in there. And even before you teleport, like maybe the computer system anticipated your arrival, you can hear gas getting pumped into the room. So what do you do, Aurelio?
I can hear gas getting pumped into the room. I see a door here, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a door there. It is shut. There's gas coming into the room. What do you want to try and do?
I want to try and get this door open.
Okay. So we're going to have you make a. How do you want to describe it? Are you just trying to punch the door out? Or you want to try to pull it open? What is the?
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I think that might be maybe a physique roll. Try to pull it open.
Yeah, absolutely. So
right.
You'll kind of run over to where it's at, kind of get your fingers in there to pull it apart. Let's have you make a physique roll.
Okay. If I wanted to use a fate point, can I announce that
Afterwards.
after?
Yeah.
Wow, great. Okay, awesome. Here goes.
It is not giving at all.
I will use a fate point for the +2.
Okay. Which aspect are you invoking?
Let's see. I am going to invoke the strong must protect the weak.
Okay.
At this moment, these guys are at a disadvantage.
Okay. So I'm going to say what you got is you're getting it partway open. I'm considering this like a contest. Like you're going to need a couple successes to get it open because the thing is fighting against you, but you kind of get your fingers in there. You're kind of starting to pull it apart. What are you doing there? He has trouble remembering names. Denny.
Well, he's pulling on the door.
He's pulling the door. Gas is coming into big chamber.
Let's see. I'm going to use one of my super gonzo-y stunt things, and I'm going to say, "Double side goose, I got this." And
Right.
I'm going to use the blow open the door to a bank vault, destroy reinforced wall, or otherwise eradicate an obstacle. It's slow and imprecise and will tear up the entire room. So
I want to know what that looks like.
So I start by moving, like I got the hands going like this and building up this ball of blue energy, right? And as it's pulling up, I go, we might have to find a different way out of here, though, guys. And I throw the ball of energy at the door.
And it hits, and that door hits, and there's that pressure, like all of your ears will pop in here when it hits, and that door blows apart and buckles and goes flying down that hallway, and all of the sort of siding in here, all of the sort of nice bright polished aluminum panels and stuff just bends and rips from the backwash of that. Any kind of cameras and stuff in here get torn up. It's just madhouse in here. The teleporter panel that's there just it fritzes, flies, as just a stump where it was. The nice flooring that's kind of painted out to mark out the circles for the teleportation, that's all stripped off by the effect.
I rather preferred the gummy bears.
And there's still gas coming in. What do you do, Dr. Epsilon?
There doesn't seem much reason to stay here. We're not coming back.
Okay.
So, I'll, cover my mouth a little bit and leave the room.
Okay. Kind of run out into this hallway. You can see it's a long hall. It takes a turn at the end there. And you can see that it looks like there's doesn't look like a door, but there's definitely some sort of module or something set up there at that sort of cut-in point. And the other thing that you will see is there are like piles of bodies by there.
Lovely.
So you guys can kind of get out of there, get out of that room. The fritzing and smoke and stuff behind you. Roz, you can see that. You kind of come up behind Dr. Epsilon, see that hallway. There's probably the bits and fragments of the door are probably impaled on the walls here in various places. What do you guys want to do? How do you want to approach this?
Investigate the bodies and see how they died.
Okay. Why don't you? Yes. Go ahead and make an investigate roll here, kind of moving up slowly and carefully.
Is that going to be a STEM thing?
I don't think so. This is more of a visual sort of spotting at a distance,
Okay.
Pretty basic stuff.
All right.
But still a 6.
Nice.
I'm good at investigate.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple of questions. I'm going to answer your basic thing, and then I'm going to let you do a couple of follow-ups, okay?
Sure.
So these people were clearly hit by blaster fire. Like there's clearly some kind of weapon built into that cut in there that mowed them down. The bottom pile, not the bottom pile, but the pile seems to be actually made up of people they're kind of half dressed, like they're maybe in kind of a lab, like patients' uniforms or things like that, or scrapped together stuff. But the bodies look like there's something wrong with them.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll give you 2 follow-ups.
Played a whole lot of Apocalypse World. What here is useful or valuable? All right. So I think the logical follow-up there is how to deactivate the blasters. Whether or not I need to use the monitor itself for that, or if there's another way for us to not all die.
So it seems to you like the 2 options you have are if you can affect it at a distance. You know that Roz can do that, or using some kind of technological hack to shut it down.
Okay.
And what's your second follow-up?
I think it's probably going to have to be connected to how long these corpses have in fact been corpses. Like, were they recently mowed down? Is this a thing where they're truly desiccated like before, or?
That is very hard to tell because they don't look right. And in fact, you actually think that these might have been animated corpses that were sent here.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yeah. That looks very weird to you. Like the bodies were already dead before they got shot.
Well, it makes me wish it. I'm going to throw in for a bonus question here then, because I feel like I can. I'll push my luck. Because if they were desecrated corpses and shooting them stopped them, shooting them where stopped them?
It looks like essentially the mass of damage to the body seems to have taken them out. Not total bodily dismemberment.
Yeah.
And not a headshot. Just
the whole
the
lot
sheer
of
amount of damage.
Gotcha. Okay. This is Madison will be playing my sidekick.
Okay. Roz.
Yeah.
So how would you handle this situation then?
Okay. So I can tell where the blasters are, yeah?
Yeah, so that looks like there's a wall kind of panel here. You can see the kind of just the angle of spacing. There must be like a rack of automated blasters back in there.
Okay. I think my first move would be to erect like a psychic barrier in front of the area that I see where there are blasters, just kind of as a fail safe, just in, because then I have to use like will to defend if they end up attacking. But
okay.
So I think that I'm first putting up, these barriers in front of that, and then I think I would attempt to use telekinesis to manipulate the panel that we've got here to try and deactivate things, with probably bugging the doctor for advice on what to do, since I'm doing it remotely here.
So what I can do here is I can create an advantage for you, probably using tech, because I'm not the one doing it. So
yeah,
perfect.
Like, now it's very important. Do you know the difference between chartreuse and teal?
All right, so go ahead and make your creative advantage roll with tech, Doctor.
All right.
And then we'll have Roz roll after you've done your roll.
All right. So I think I still get to use the power of STEM on this.
Yes.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
Okay. So he will create an aspect on that. What do you want to call that for color?
I think, well, color is because I made the comment. I'm going to call it color-coded awesomeness.
Okay. Which means that you can call on that for +2 to your roll, Roz.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
rolling tech.
No, you can actually, because you're doing this remotely with your thing, you can use your will to do this.
Yay. Oh, even better. Good. All right. Rolling will. I got a 4, and that's without applying the bonus.
Okay. So that'll take you to a 6. What is it you want to have happen? Do you want them permanently broken? Do you want them turned off? Do you want them kind of stuck facing inwards? What's the end result you want?
I think at this point I'm cool with just like turning them off permanently at this point. I
Okay.
don't want us to have trouble with it if we have to come back through here.
Okay, so there'll be this of sparks will come out of that as you pull on the right wires and disable this a rack of blasters.
Nice.
Excellent.
I think I give them turn around and give the guys a thumbs up, and my little ethereal hand that had been over the keyboard over there as well gives them a thumb up from the distance. So it's just like good to go.
All right. Next, Aurelio, Denny, what are you guys up to?
I think I'm just kind of like hanging back a little bit. I'm eating the gummy bears because I need to rebuild some energy here because that blast of the doors took a lot out of me. So I'm just kind of more following along at the moment.
Okay. Got a little bit of that weird taste from the knockout gas there. Kind of clings to your gummy bears. Little minty.
Minty and coppery, and it's really more about the sugar.
Yeah. What about you, Aurelio?
I'm gonna smooth my hair down because it's probably all like heat miser from the explosion in the room, and I'm gonna get myself over to this corner as fast as I can and peek around the other side.
Okay. When you peek around the other side, you will see that it goes down just a little ways and then ends in what looks like a how do I put this? Like a decontamination section door. Like it's kind of a hard point door, and there's a small control panel by it. You can kind of see there's a little glass panel there, and you expect that there's a stepped chamber. You also have to move past these zombies that are dead on the floor.
I want to leap over them.
Okay, not a problem then. Bloop, not a problem. You're on the other side of the zombie pile.
Cool.
Can I do a quick ping on that zombie pile just to like psychically just to using my communication ability just to like really just double check and make sure none of them are actually gonna pop up and come at us, that they're actually all dead?
Sure, you can confirm that they are dead. That you kind of
Oh, good.
Definitely deceased.
Okay, good.
Permanently deceased. What's the next step, guys?
I think Denny's last over the zombie pile because he's kind of like just, kind of climbing over and then saying, "Oh, sorry, excuse me, sorry."
What's our current block to proceeding forward?
We've got like an airlock door here, like for an airlock or for a hot zone.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a window through to the other side?
Yeah, if you guys move down to this and kind of come around, you can see that there is a little chamber here. Let me mark that out. And then it looks like it goes into kind of a larger chamber, a room that opens up, and you can kind of see just a little bit of a door on the other side. It looks like this might be like a security checkpoint or something.
Okay. Well, and we can't see any kind of like activation panel to get the door, so we'll have to force the door again.
No, I mean you could certainly open the door here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before we do that,
Sure.
just a quick look inside the room. Are there any like apertures for cameras or guns? Microphones?
Roll investigate.
Okay. It's not my thing exactly. I'm easily distracted by shiny objects.
It looks like there might be some scanning devices there, maybe some security cameras and things in there, but you're not sure exactly to what extent.
Okay.
Am I close enough, like, to them where I can use my Fritz out nearby machines?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna do that. Fritz out nearby machines using knowledge. Something computerized will put up fair opposition, and more complex and powerful computers will offer greater opposition.
You're working on just a subsystem, so I'm going to say fair opposition then.
Okay, so I do it with knowledge.
Yep, let me roll for that.
Oh no.
So don't worry, I could still screw this up. So you will get it, Fritz, but it's going to be temporary.
Okay.
Unless you want to do something more on that.
You know what? Maybe I will. I will. I'm going to give myself an aspect that's just called Look Ma No Hands.
Okay.
I'll spend that fate point right away.
Okay. So that'll do it by 2, and essentially the cameras and that kind of security stuff in there is going to be out.
Oh, much better.
Okay.
Epsilon, opening the door then.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the dead bodies real quick.
Sure.
So they were apparently they would have come through the teleporter like we did, because there's nowhere else that they could have come from, right?
Oh no, they're running towards the teleporter.
Okay, and then we're shot in the back. Got it. Good to know. Good to know. And you said they were wearing patient outfits or something?
Sure. Let's have you do an investigate here.
I will do that. Because once it turned out they were corpses, I was way more interested. Am I looking at STEM or straight investigate?
Let me think here. I think no. Let's do STEM.
One of my follow-up question is basically going to be how they were animated. Because if it was magic, that's one thing. If they were technologically, that's another. All right, 4.
So, what's your first question?
Well, it's has to do with basically who sent them, because if they're zombies, they had some kind of goal.
These look like various test subjects and things like that, which kind of freaks you out because this is a superhero's base. But clearly some of them have like genetic modifications and stuff done to them. And then after that, some other force animated them to make them into these zombies. It feels to you like it might be some kind of psychic thing because you're not seeing any evidence of tech or necessarily magic here. You don't see. You would expect to be stars and moons or whatever on them. That's what you think. Or even a gummy bear would give you an indication that they were magically enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
Your follow-up.
All right. Like there's things I want to know that there's no like what were they planning on doing with that teleporter?
Well, and you can build it based on what you know. You can ask things about, do I know about this in the world? That kind of stuff you can build on. Feel free.
So, yeah, Bio9. So, clearly the defenses are up and running.
Yes.
And so this place seems much more functional than the satellite. So I'm going to ask whether or not there's a centralized intelligence that's coordinating the defenses, or if they are all independent.
Yes, there is a central defense like system, like an AI, but someone has reduced its effectiveness on this level. Somebody's done some hacking and stuff on this level to reduce its effectiveness.
All right. That's what I would do were I not a hero, which I am. Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay.
Proceeding onward.
All right. You guys can open up this security room. Get the chambers open. Look. You will realize that by taking out the cameras and the sensors there, you deactivated essentially a trap that would have electrified the whole room. And that seems to be still activatable, but it isn't go off because the trigger mechanism has been removed.
That was close. Is there any cool stuff in this room, like riot shields or like cool hats or batons or tasers?
Yeah. Do you want to salvage?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason, this is your turn to roll for the salvage roll. So are you rolling investigate, tech, or what?
I would roll investigate.
Okay. And you get your
I'm pretty
plus
sure
2.
this doesn't. Oh, do I? Sweet.
Yep. And the plus 3 for your assistance.
So I get a +5?
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo!
Sweet. So we are salvaging the heck out of this area.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think it's the highest roll yet.
Yeah.
So right now, you get 2 intel and 2 loot.
What do you guys want? All right. So I'll tell you what. Let's take 1 piece of gear, 1 piece of info, and 4 loot. Does that sound about right?
That works.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So 3 intel, 1 gear, 6 loot. Because we are greedy people.
Hey, that's good money. So it'll take some
this
time.
2-session.
You will get that sort of scavenge. What is the kind of stuff that you find here? Is it batons, or is it something more sophisticated than that, Aurelio?
There are maybe some sonic devices meant to incapacitate anything they can hear in a focused beam. There are things that work on eyes, things that are meant to blind. It's an almost an invisible beam maybe that comes out, but temporarily blinds creatures' optic nerves.
Little
things like that.
Little array of experimental, uncertain machinery that you guys can find. Sure, that sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, we'll figure it out. How hard could it be?
if you press on,
Yes.
you will see, and I'm going to actually draw something in here. The hallway continues on, and let me describe what you see. The hallway goes on a long way. It splits in the middle, and like you can see that there's two branching corridors about midway. It then goes down. There's a set of doors and a door at the end, but where I've kind of drawn in these horrible red squiggles because I'm not an artistic type, despite having a liberal arts degree. Someone has piled up wreckage and like debris, and it's clearly been gathered together. And in front of that, it looks like there's some sort of scavenge built mechanisms like beams or things like that. Like someone has jury rigged kind of like more high-tech defenses as a first stage of defense against the people going through that barrier.
Oof.
So just to clarify, it's defense against stuff coming from our direction, not from deeper in?
That is correct.
Okay.
What about the this here? This is reminiscent of where the blasters were. Are these just
you guys can make your way up, and you'll be able to see that this goes into two different like hallways that split off. I'll go ahead and mark those out for you since we're kind of checking things out. Oh, I should probably use the thing that allows me to reveal things.
Oh, this is cool.
Nice.
And as you guys are kind of moving along there and checking things out, you will see the doorway up here to the north open, and you will see come sort of floating out a trio of drones. The clearly hover drones. They're probably about 4 feet tall, and they have mounted, looks like some kind of blaster cannons, and they have kind of come out of that door, and they are starting to pick up speed and heading your direction. Getting closer.
Pew, pew, pew.
All right, so you're going to shoot one then, Dr. Epsilon?
Heck yeah.
Okay, Dr. Epsilon, please roll your aim versus this attack drone, defense drone.
Wait, did I open the wrong word? No, that's still me. Oh, there it is. All right. So I got a 3.
We roll for that. So, holy cow, that's the first time I've ever rolled 4 pluses. So
Nice.
what does that look like?
Well, I rolled relatively well, so Dr. Epsilon like arrogantly points his laser blaster at it, and he fires like 3 bolts of electric fire, and they break formation without actually slowing down, and then come back together in a firm attack formation, and like his stuff just keeps going down and blasts the end of the hallway.
Yeah, they actually, let's say that they actually can slide up onto the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Can then come back down, and they are moving forward. Who wants to act next?
When do you guys go?
They're descending like space invaders.
I'll shoot at one with my 38,
Okay, let's have you take that shot.
and I'll use knowledge to aim.
Oh yeah, you know where to hit them.
Two.
I have a 3 on the defense there.
I will. I will invoke my know all the secrets and spend my last fate point.
Okay. So that'll take you to a 4.
Yep.
Okay. So you will ping this one and do a shift of damage, but it still keeps coming. I can't remember if your thing gives you extra weapon on it or not.
No.
Okay. All right. So Epsilon fires, 38 goes off. Roz?
Yeah, I think I'm standing like in that like cross section, like right in the middle of that intersection of everything, and I see these guys coming at us. I think I reach a hand out towards the blockage and the debris that's been piled up over there to try and like telekinetically like pull a chunk of something off of that barrier, you know, that whatever's piled up there, pull it towards me, and then push it down the hallway towards the towards those guys to try and knock those drones out.
Awesome. Go ahead and make that roll with will.
All right, with will, here it comes.
Ooh.
3.
Okay, so now I rolled 4 minuses. So that will crunch into the sort of front one of these, and does like smashes in part of it. It's kind of scritching and still rolling forward, but much more slowly, and it clearly is about to give out. There are 2 more that are untouched. This one that's kind of fritzing along. What do you want to do, Aurelio?
I will launch myself at them, and yeah, I will try to hit both of them at the same time with the Iron Cyclone. So this is the first time I've used this.
So let's look at that. So Iron Cyclone. So yeah, you can fight a close group of targets. You deal full damage shifts to all of them.
Ooh.
So you're going to be rolling with fight.
All right.
Against their defense. Ooh, that was not good for them.
Yeah.
There we go.
So you can, if you will take out one and damage the other 2 heavily, I'll tell you, if you can push that up a little more, you can take them all out.
All right, I'll use my my last fate point then.
Okay, and what's the aspect you're invoking?
I'm going to invoke. If I invoke the unfinished training course.
So that's actually one that you can invoke to say that you create a problem and get yourself a fate point back.
Oh, I see. Which
that's a bad one.
Yeah. So at this point, that wouldn't be very. That wouldn't be great. Well, obviously, my 3 super powerful, magical, psychic, STEM-powered compatriots all failed. So in this case, the strong must protect the weak.
Okay. So, boom, you come smashing through this. Have you guys seen him do this before?
No.
I'm under the impression that he likes to do this at every opportunity.
So Dr. Epsilon is very jaded about this. He's like, whatever. The other 2, if you haven't seen this, but bits flying. You know, you guys have to duck because this gun barrel comes shooting past you. Bits of shrapnel, and he absolutely pulverizes these 3 security robots, and just he's in the middle of them like a whirlwind, and then
yeah, I think I start jumping up and down, cheering, and then I actually start sprinting at him with my hand up, and I stop a little. I stop a little bit short. I stop a little bit short. Like just like you did wipe off your hand from that bug earlier, right?
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. High five. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pick up some shard of the armed drones and just look at it and be like, their battle was already lost because their lack of introspection does not allow them to channel the chi that is necessary to run the universe. It said that in, I think it's like chapter 2. Anyhow.
And then he's like, "Hey, goose, you big stupid." Take me to bed or lose me forever. From that movie.
All right. I think this is a good place to stop in our dungeon crawl for today.
No.
It's almost 10:30. We'll stop there. We will take up with you standing amidst the wreckage. You've spotted that there are some people clearly in here, and there's some other forces at work and zombies, and you've got some places to explore. So that's where we'll start out next time. Does that seem cool with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right. And you will refresh your fate points for next time because I'm a generous GM.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you.
You are.
Maybe
right.
next time I'll hit something.
Yes. We'll do Roses and Thorns at the end of second session. That's my typical thing with the 2 shots. So if anybody does have feedback that you definitely want to throw up, anything they need to definitely do?
No, it's awesome so far.
Having a great time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody
All
want
right,
to
I
go
just wanna
on?
make
Anybody want to go on to the Discord thing for the, what do they call it? The debrief?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
I want to try that.
I can't. I've actually got to get my classes set because they all start on Monday, and I'll be up a little late.
Oh, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off too. I'll see you guys
Okay.
next week. That was awesome. Thank you.
All righty.
Yeah. Thank you.
Adios.
See
I'm
y'all.
heading to
Thanks.
Discord. All right.
Okay. I'm going to try and do it too.
Yep. Same here.
Okay.
Bye.